Hello and welcome. Are you navigating challenging MBA waters or perhaps planning to dive in soon? You likely pour hours into your studies, surrounded by textbooks and case studies with the constant pressure to perform. But let me ask you, are you truly seeing top-tier results that match your immense effort? Are you sometimes left wondering, why does all this hard work not translate into the mastery I crave? It's a common story. Many ambitious MBA students feel trapped, like they are on a hamster wheel. They study harder and harder, yet do not quite reach their full potential. You might have heard a startling statistic. Many MBA graduates, some say 75%, feel unprepared for real-world challenges after graduation. If this resonates with you, know that you are definitely not alone. Many passionate learners, often those who think deeply, encounter this initial frustration. You might even feel you learn slower than your peers, but often this just means you are striving for a profound understanding rather than superficial recall. The truth is, many students fall into a study trap. They focus intensely on memorizing facts, rereading notes, and trying to absorb vast information within demanding B-school environments. As one wise student aptly put it, time is precious. This approach can lead to overwhelm and frustration, causing you to think at the wrong level without even realizing it. Researchers call this the misinterpreted effort hypothesis, where easier study methods may feel productive but yield poorer long-term results. What if there's a more effective, more strategic way to learn? A way to truly thrive in your MBA and develop deep thinking skills that will set you apart. Today, we are flipping the traditional study approach. Get ready to discover a powerful thinking strategy most students ignore, one that can be your key to academic excellence, genuine mastery, and real-world leadership. And while our focus is on MBA, understand that these principles apply to any complex subject you wish to master, from history to physics, from music theory to advanced programming. Unveiling the secret weapon, understanding levels of thinking with Bloom's taxonomy. So what is this secret weapon? It is a powerful framework, one expert even calls an underrated principle that most students have not heard of or simply do not know how to use. It is called Bloom's revised taxonomy. That might sound a bit academic, but stick with me because this is crucial. Bloom's taxonomy, first published decades ago and later revised, is not just some dusty educational theory. It is a powerful model describing different levels of thinking, ranging from basic to complex. Here's the kicker. Your professors, curriculum designers, and even the people writing your exams all use it. They think in terms of this taxonomy when creating content and assessments, so understanding it gives you an invaluable insider's peek into how you are being evaluated. It is how educators measure your true comprehension and ability. Let's quickly break down the main levels. Imagine a pyramid. Level 1, remember. At the very bottom is the foundation. This is about basic recall. You recognize and recall facts and basic concepts. Think about memorizing marketing definitions or learning Excel function syntax. It is simply your ability to list facts, define terms, or state information. How to activate this level? Flashcards, rote memorization, creating simple lists. Level 2, understand. Just above that. Here you move beyond simple recall to explain ideas or concepts. You are not just listing facts, you can now classify information, describe ideas, discuss them, and explain them in your own words. For example, you might explain why a concept is important or how an Excel function actually works. How to activate this level? Summarize readings in your own words, teach the concept to a peer, create analogies. A level 3 apply. Next up, this level is all about using information. You take what you have remembered and understood and apply it in new situations. It is where you execute or implement, such as learning a finance equation and then using it to solve a simple problem. In Excel, this means utilizing functions to perform calculations in a spreadsheet or designing a simple financial model. For case studies, it is applying a framework to a straightforward problem. How to activate this level? Work through practice problems, complete assigned exercises, use a learned formula in a new scenario. Now we move into what educators call higher order thinking skills. Level 4. Analyze. Here you break information down to find its constituent parts, exploring relationships and understanding organizational structure. You are drawing connections, differentiating between ideas, organizing information, and attributing meaning. In an MBA context, this could involve comparing two investment strategies, dissecting a complex business case to identify its core components, or looking for similarities and differences in market entry approaches. You are not just looking at information in isolation, you see how it relates to other information. How to activate this level? Create Venn diagrams or comparison tables, identify assumptions, draw flowcharts of processes, categorize information. Level 5. Evaluate. Climbing higher. This level is all about making judgments using criteria and standards. It involves checking work, critiquing ideas, and justifying a stand or decision. This is where you ask powerful questions like, so what? What does this matter? Who cares? Why is it important? It is no longer enough to know similarities or differences, as in level 4. Now you use that knowledge to make a decision and justify it. For instance, which strategy is better for a specific company and why? Is this marketing campaign effective, and can you defend that conclusion? This level truly focuses on forming and justifying conclusions. How to activate this level? Debate a topic, write a persuasive argument, assess the strengths and weaknesses of different solutions, critique a case study's proposed solution. Level 6. Create. At the very peak, this involves putting elements together to form a coherent or functional whole, reorganizing them into a new pattern or structure. It is about generating new ideas, new products, or new ways of viewing things. You might design a novel business plan, develop an innovative solution for an unsolved problem, or hypothesize a new market trend based on existing data. For most MBA work, Level 5, Evaluate, is often the peak for assessment, but Level 6 is truly where innovation happens. How to activate this level? Design a new product or service, write a business plan, develop a unique solution to a problem, or formulate a new theory or hypothesis. This is where you learn by doing, like a programmer building their own project to deeply understand coding, or a musician composing to master theory. So, that's Bloom's taxonomy in a nutshell. Now, here is the common pitfall. Most students try to climb this ladder from the bottom up. They focus on remembering, then understanding, then applying, and so on. It sounds sensible, right? Master one level, then move to the next. But there is a critical flaw in this approach, especially when time is limited. Knowledge decay. You might be working hard at level 2, trying to understand concepts, but your memory of level 1 facts begins to fade. By the time you are applying at level 3, you might have to relearn what you thought you mastered. It becomes a constant cycle of learning and forgetting, leaving you spending most of your B-school time just trying to keep basics from slipping. This is not efficient, and it rarely leads to the deep knowledge top performance requires. A game-changing strategy. Start at level 5, evaluate. So if the bottom-up approach is flawed, what is the alternative? This is where we introduce the game changer, a truly counterintuitive strategy. Are you ready for it? Instead of starting at level 1, remember, and painstakingly trying to move up, we are going to start at level 5, evaluate. We effectively work our way down. I know, that might sound completely backward. How can you evaluate something if you do not understand or remember it yet? But bear with me. Science and experience unequivocally back this up. Here is why this start high approach is so incredibly powerful. your brain processes information differently and forms stronger, more durable memories with higher order thinking, including analysis and evaluation. When you set your sights on level 5 from the outset, you force your brain to grapple with questions of judgment, importance, and justification. Something amazing happens. Your brain actively quests to answer these, automatically doing the lower-level work of understanding, remembering, and applying almost as a beneficial side effect. Think about it. If you are trying to evaluate 2 different marketing strategies, you inherently must understand them. Level 2. Remember their key components. Level 1. Analyze their pros and cons. Level 4. And consider how they might apply. Level 3. A higher-level task naturally includes and reinforces the lower ones. This does not work the other way around. If you are just trying to learn and regurgitate material, level 1, your brain will not automatically compare or prioritize information, levels 4 and 5. But if you start by trying to compare and prioritize, you will gain better memory and understanding. When you adopt this evaluate-first mindset, you train your brain to think like an examiner or a senior manager from day one. You are not just passively receiving information, you are actively interrogating it, wrestling with it, and making sense of it within a larger context. This also means you naturally answer the "so what" and "why should I care" questions that often plague learners. Now let us address that misinterpreted effort again. Studying this way feels harder, especially at first, as you constantly ask, why is this important? How does this compare? What are the critical implications? It requires more mental effort and is not as comfortable as passive rereading. You will be thinking for longer and more deeply, and some people mistakenly think this increased effort means they are doing something wrong or are being inefficient. But this is precisely where the magic lies. Increased mental effort is fantastic because it means your brain is forming deeper knowledge and building stronger, more resilient memories. You might feel you are moving slower initially, but the learning will be profound and lasting. You will spend far less time relearning forgotten material later. This is not a sign of being slow, but of being a deep learner, a powerful strength in complex fields. So, when you sit down to study, do not start by asking, "What is this?" or by trying to memorize definitions. Instead, immediately jump to higher-level questions. Here is how you do it. Before you even read the chapter, look at the chapter summary, key terms, or end-of-chapter questions. Find a core concept. Then ask yourself, why is this concept critical for leaders? How does this idea challenge or support other theories I have learned? As you read, do not just absorb. Actively interrogate the text with questions like, what are the potential pitfalls or limitations of this framework if applied in a real business? If I had to explain its core value to a CEO in 30 seconds, what would I say, and how would I distill it? After reading, focus most of your attention on trying to evaluate what you have just consumed. How does it fit into the bigger picture? What are its strengths and weaknesses? This forces you to understand and analyze, and this shift in focus is the core of the strategy. Pro tip: leverage AI for higher-order questioning. This is where modern tools supercharge your learning. You can use an AI like ChatGPT to actively help you evaluate first. Here is how. 1. Paste your text or a concept. Give ChatGPT the material you are trying to learn. 2. Give it a prompt. Instead of asking for a summary, level 1 pattern, instruct it. Generate 5 level 5, evaluate questions about this text, focusing on its implications for business strategy. Or critique the arguments presented here as if you were a senior manager. 3. Analyze the AI's output. The questions or critiques it provides will immediately push your thinking to a higher level, guiding your subsequent study and ensuring you are looking for connections, flaws, and applications rather than just facts. This forces you to actively use the material. Putting theory into practice. Evaluate first for core MBA skills. All right, let us get practical. How does this evaluate first strategy apply to specific MBA skills and your subjects? Let us look at some key areas, as mentioned by successful MBA students and management experts. Mastering Microsoft Excel and financial modeling. Excel is often called non-negotiable, vital in B school and beyond, especially for finance, consulting, and operations. Many students traditionally focus on learning functions and formulas, which are essentially level 1 and 2 tasks. The evaluate first approach means not just learning Excel functions in isolation. Here is how to apply it. Start with the decision. When faced with a task like building a financial model, first ask, what is the ultimate decision this model must support, and how will it inform a critical business choice? Justify tool choices. Then, which Excel tools, functions, and techniques are most efficient, robust, and justified for presenting this specific decision clearly and accurately? Test assumptions. Critically. Finally, what are the critical assumptions in this model, and how can I use Excel to rigorously test and justify them for different scenarios? By focusing on the purpose and justification, you will naturally master the necessary functions as tools to achieve that higher level goal. You will also defend your model much better, not just present it. Crushing case solving and problem solving. Case studies are MBA bread and butter, also crucial for interviews, with the goal of testing your ability to solve unstructured problem statements. Many students approach cases by trying to remember frameworks and then mechanically applying them. With the evaluate first approach, when you get a case, resist the urge to jump straight to solutions or framework application. Instead, actively evaluate first. Identify the core problem. What is the single most critical issue at the heart of this case, and why is it more important than others? Define evaluation criteria. What are the potential strategic options, and what clear criteria should I use to evaluate their viability and impact? Justify your recommendation. If I had to make one recommendation, what would it be? And how would I convincingly justify it as the superior choice over others, considering all risks and opportunities? This method forces deep analysis and critical thinking, moving you beyond surface-level application to genuinely insightful problem-solving, a skill that truly separates a manager from the rest. Decoding financial statements. Understanding financial statement basics, the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement is essential, especially for those without finance backgrounds. Many just try to memorize line items and learn what each means. The evaluate first approach means not just learning to read statements, but learning to interpret and evaluate them. Here is how. Seek strategic insights. What does this cash flow statement tell me about the company's strategic health and operational efficiency, beyond just the numbers? Identify key risks, opportunities. What are the key financial risks or opportunities highlighted here, and what should a leader be most concerned about and why? Benchmark and imply. How do these financial results compare to industry benchmarks or key competitors, and what does that imply for the company's future performance and strategy? This approach transforms financial statements from static reports into dynamic tools for strategic decision-making. Delivering powerful PowerPoint presentations and communication. PowerPoint is ubiquitous in B schools and corporates. It is not just about making a slide, but conveying a story and influencing an audience. Many focus on design templates or cramming information. The evaluate first approach dictates that before you even open PowerPoint, you evaluate your message and purpose. Here is how. Define core message. What is the single most important message my audience must take away from this presentation, and what is the desired action? Structure for persuasion. What is the most persuasive way to structure my arguments and present my data to support this core message and lead to my desired outcome? Critically assess each element. How can I critically assess each slide? Does it directly contribute to my core message, or is it just clutter? How can I ensure every visual element reinforces my argument? Remember, as a manager, you are often the communication bridge, so evaluating your message's impact and clarity is paramount. This approach also helps you create presentations like consultants do, focusing on the story and visuals that effectively convey insights. Tackling statistics and probability. Statistics and probability can be daunting, especially for non-engineers. Many try to memorize formulas and procedures for specific problems. The evaluate first approach means you need to understand basics, but always connect them to the big picture and why they matter. Here is how. Business relevance. Why is this statistical concept or probability distribution relevant for making better business decisions in marketing, operations, or finance? Justify assumptions. What are the underlying assumptions of this statistical test, and are they justified in this particular business context? What happens if they are not? Assess reliability and significance. How can I evaluate the reliability and significance of these findings to avoid drawing misleading conclusions and present actionable insights? This helps you see stats differently, not as abstract math, but as a powerful tool for informed judgment. Even the IIM Ahmedabad Pre-MBA Stats course, available for free audit, aims to build this applied understanding. By applying this evaluate first thinking across all your subjects, you are not just learning content, you are cultivating essential management skills like conceptual thinking, diagnostic and analytical skills, and superior decision-making abilities, all critical for effective managers. This is how you move beyond just knowing how it works to truly knowing why it works and how to improve it. So there you have it, the Start High thinking strategy. It is a powerful shift in perspective that can transform your MBA journey from a grueling slog of memorization into an exciting process of deep learning and intellectual growth. The secret to acing your MBA and preparing for a leadership career is not just about working harder, it is about thinking smarter, deeper, and more strategically. To recap the core idea, shift your primary focus from rote learning and basic understanding, levels 1 and 2 of Bloom's, to evaluation and analysis, levels 4 and 5, from the very beginning for any topic you study. This is the how behind truly effective learning. Follow our channel for more personal, career, and tertiary studies development content.